Okay.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ademolu. Welcome to Girls Timeout. I'm here to share a story, but this is not just any story. This is the story of a woman's journey through life's unpredictability. This is a story of pain and yet courage. Many of us prefer to share our stories after our happy endings. My guest is still on her journey. However, she's rising above it to encourage and support other women who are walking a similar path. I call her a phenomenal woman because it takes great courage to be vulnerable in the face of adversity. Her name is Woona Ademolu, and I really appreciate having you as my guest. Welcome, Woona.
Thank you, Ademolu. You're so sweet. Just me, my head is smiling.
Seriously, I think you're phenomenal, and I do not just use my words lightly. I mean every word of it.
Thank you. It takes one to know one, actually.
Thank you. Now, the background, I'm just going to do a quick background to Woona's story, and I'm going to let her go ahead and just share. Now, the background to your story, Woona, is that you have been on a journey to have a baby for about 10 years now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know along that journey, there have been many experiences, and I'm sure there have been so many experiences, but I want you to share what experiences stand out for you on that journey. How has that been for you?
Wow. I don't know. I can't really touch on just one particular experience because it's just been a lot. It's been a whole whirlwind of emotions, of happiness, joy, pain, anguish, sadness, all rolled into one. But I think I've just kind of come to a stage now, or point in my life where I'm a person of faith, and I think this has actually just helped me more grounded in my faith, because I mean, we see it in Bible scriptures of people who have gone through hardship and even demonstrated through the hardship how they remain faithful and still called God faithful despite and in spite of it all. But the church today only celebrates the miracles that has happened, and if yours ain't happening just yet, maybe there's something you're doing or you ain't doing that is hindering it. But it's not always that. And I think that's why I've always had this burden to speak up, to speak out. Hopefully in the process, I'm creating a safe place for other women like me who are in the waiting room, and to encourage them that, what, our whole life cannot just revolve around this, and we can't put things on hold because of it. So we need to continue to live our lives and lead our lives like, if the children were here. Because you wouldn't have this time back. And as far as I know, we have only one chance on earth. I don't know about anyone coming back. No one's recognized anyone and say, that person came in 90 something and he's back here again. So I ain't taking my chances. So I think it's just taught me to be patient. I'm actually an impatient person. To think that in all my goofiness and how laid back I am so impatient. It's unreal. Lord have mercy. So, and I think God just knows how to just try us with something that he knows. His grace is always there to abound and see us through. So, experiences, a lot. It's just been a lot, Ademolu.
I like what you said about the fact that you're not letting that stop you. Sounds to me like what I'm hearing is you're not letting it define you, and you're not letting that be all that your life is about. Whilst important, but you're still moving on with your life and being able to enjoy life.
Yeah. I mean, I think with everything that I've gone through now, it just kind of brings God's word to life to me, especially when he says, I want you to have life and have it in abundance. The average Christian person that I would have a couple of years back would have been, everything double, everything, the house, the cars, all the glory and everything. But is that really our true measure of God's grace in our lives? And, he says he wants us to have in abundance, and in abundance you will have it in whatever situation you're in.
Mm.
You know,
Mm.
because look at how this whole situation we found ourselves in the world right now, how coronavirus have kind of redefined how life should be. A lot of people have all these great, fantastic things that we're all craving for and everything, but can't really enjoy it just because we have to stay at home and stay protected. You can't be jumping all around now and, you know, exposing yourself to all sorts. And it all boils down to the fact that what is most important, really, at the end of the day, the fact that we can actually breathe free air and not have to pay for it.
Wow.
Isn't that just a blessing in itself?
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know. I have a Yoruba background as well, so sometimes Yoruba just tends to just, you know, dive into my conversation. So life is not, it's not that deep. Yes, in English style, it's not that deep in the grand scheme of things. When you read away all the old frills and frills, the main important things are stuff that you can't even pay for. You know, that is beyond our control. So yeah.
Wow. 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 That mindset is amazing. And you know what? I said you're phenomenal. I hold on to that and I believe that. And I think looking at you, you mentioned two things. One, were our background, our ethnic background. Secondly is society and culture.
Yeah.
I know based on where we're coming from, how difficult it must be for you. So even while you have your own expectation and faith, there are also a lot of voices, a lot of people. And I know that plays a huge part in how you experience this journey. So it's one thing for you to hold on to this is where I'm at. But it's another thing for all the people that have opinions about where you're at and what you should or should not be doing.
Yeah, true, Adebola. Because the thing is, you know what? I mean, I can relate with yourself because sometimes when I talk with some friends, as you know, we're here in the UK, and for the Caucasians and everything, they feel like it's your choice what you want to do. It's your life. You can decide to have kids or not. Like, they don't find it strange when you meet them and they're talking about, you know, themselves and you don't have kids. You know, it's like, yeah, you might just not want it. But you meet a black person that is of a Nigerian descent, and they just look at it, they just form a notion already. You know, they're like the social pressure and on the outside, and then the internal pressure from family as well. But thankfully, I mean, I will be cruel now if I want to say that because I've heard some horror stories, and I'm thinking, so this happens, and I'm like, God, I thank you for your grace that you have just prepared me and put me in a place whereby I don't want to think about killing myself or I want to pack my load from this place. Because the expectation is that once you're married, after 9 months, auntie, uncle, what's happening? Where's the shirt? Where's the belly? The belly is not showing. What's happening? That's the expectation. And say you're 10 years down the line and people are wondering, okay, what are you guys saying? Now you're not kids anymore, you know. Everyone wants to say something. Everyone feel like they have an opinion. Everyone feel like they're experienced without having a clue what is happening on the inside. Because at the end of the day, no one knows what goes on in a marriage except people who are married. Even the people who are married go and say half the time one of the parties might not even have a clue. So God help us.
That's deep. That's deep. Because I know thinking about this, I hear that completely, because I know how that societal pressure and the things that people would say and the things they would expect. How have you been able to cope with that? How?
I would say, first of all, the grace of God. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to sound corny or spiro or anything. I've gone full circle. Like, it's like you're trying to pass an exam, and I've got to a place whereby if I, you know, like, especially during the period when I was going through my treatments and everything, and I'm like all jed up, having faith, trusting God that this is going to be it. This is going to be it. And it didn't happen. And then I fall down to my state where I'm like, God, you don't love me. if you created me on this world, you said I should be fruitful, wine, fruitful, you know. I do all of that, and then I still realize at the end of the day, I have to go back to the default setting, the creator of the product. Oh God, because I don't have anybody to go to. And mine is so peculiar in the sense that I'm orphaned. I've lost both my parents, so it's not even a case of I even have that, you know, immediate covering of father or mother to fall back on. So it's still like default setting is God. Like you're my all and all, you're my baba, you're my everything. So it is tough sometimes, especially when you meet people who are just insensitive, or you hear people who kind of pass statements like they're trying to take digs at you, and you're wondering, even if you even offended them, if they think that I have such powers to make babies, like you think I won't wish you away out of my front and it disappeared as well. So I'm like, I'm amazed how people feel like, don't you want to have kids? Like, oh, so I have the power to just create the kid. Like people just feel like I got the power, so I could also switch some things, but it is hard. Yeah, I'm not going to even sugarcoat it and make it sweet or something. It is been very, very hard and difficult. But I'm more grateful that I'm out here, because I can't even begin to imagine what my life would be like if I was living out in Nigeria. And no disrespect to women who are out there who live in Nigeria and everything. But I don't know, I just feel like God just orchestrated everything the way it is. And I can't but just say thank you, you know, for where I'm at, even though it just seems like I'm not in where I'm supposed to be, but we can only trust and hope that it would get better. Yeah.
You raised something, and that for me was like, whoa, you said you're an orphan, and I felt, wow. So in terms of support, in terms of having a shoulder to cry on, in terms of just having someone there that has your back, that is there to support, how has that been for you? Because yeah,
I mean, first of all, I would say my husband, I mean, he's had to grow up so fast. It's unbelievable, having to be that support, because he's my immediate, and it's what even makes it more difficult is the fact that my immediate family are out in Nigeria, so I don't even have my siblings close by, and I come from a very close knitted family. Like my siblings are close. So, and I have my immediate sister as well, who every day checks in on me, like it's a mission. Every morning I know I'm getting a message from her, and just, you know, encouraging me to go on with the day and everything. And I can't but thank God for her, that God will, you know, put me in her mind, because she's got her family as well. So I've got a great support system in my local church, my immediate friends as well. So it's not really that half bad. And my personality helps too. I can't help myself. If you can't but notice me, I'll make myself noticeable.
brilliant.
Yeah. I mean, like I don't know. I'm a people person, so I get along easily with people. That's one thing I'm grateful to God for giving me this personality, because I know a lot of people who are a bit more reserved, more conservative. I don't know if I would say shy, and they just beside into the shadow, and it even makes it more, because that's what the devil wants you to be isolated, and then the digs and the daps gets in terms of playing with your emotions and, you know, making you believe what is not. But I'm grateful that, you know, at least I have the opportunity to have friends who have my time. I'm working, I've got a career, and I'm trying to do the side hustle. So I would say relatively I'm busy. So keeping busy and preoccupied is a very important thing as well. Except if you know how to manage your mind. Because some people, if you're not busy, it's easy for you to just, it's a slippery slope for you to just get to that position where you are just thinking and worrying over things that you have no control over, and that doesn't really help the situation, does it? Doesn't at all.
I like what you said about control, being in that place of staying in the place of control where you have control, and not just allowing yourself to slip into areas where we have no control. And
Yeah.
there's so many things that are out of your control on this journey. Wow, wow, wow. And in terms of what you have, so I know it's been a journey, and there must have been lessons. What have you learned? It sounds like you probably were not this way when you started the journey. From where you were then and who you are now.
Yeah.
What has changed in your perception? What has been added to you? What have you learned along this way, along this path?
I think it's, for me, is knowing myself that I am complete in Christ who strengthens me, and everything is for a time and a season. So getting to understand that concept, because right now, when I look at my friends, they're not my kids, but I worry for my friends' kids, my nieces, my nephews, like, hey, I can't even imagine after waiting for a child all this one now. Someone will not tell me that my child must go to school and be exposed every day to this coronavirus. I don't think I can take it. So, when I think about things like that, I'm like, maybe God knows I can't handle it, because even my own panic I would have even made the matter more worse. So, and every child, especially when you look at your child and you see what it is that God has created them for, it's sad. It would be sad if my child arrived early or as I wanted it, and God forbid something terrible happens and the child dies maybe now in this kind of COVID or something, or so, just something. So I've come to understand or learn that anything that is God's will is just something that would last a lifetime and will be a testament of his manifestation. So if it's not God in it, I don't even want it. Yeah. Because I've seen people who have kids and they're struggling with some complications or disability and all of that, and they have kids. But do I want to be in that situation? I don't think so. No, I mean, I tip my hat to them, to parents who are, looking after and supporting kids with disability and everything. That is a whole challenge on its own. So in the bit of wanting something, I don't want to go ahead of myself or go ahead of God and use my hand to find trouble in the process. So I'd rather wait for that healthy child that will added rich and no sorrow to my life. So if that's what it is, because I've gone through the process whereby I've asked myself, is it by the work of my hand, God? Is it sin that I've committed? You said you forgive all sins. Is it the sin of my fathers? But everything I keep getting back is for the name of God to be glorified. And of course, I mean, who waits after all this while and is not marveled when they eventually hear the story that, can you imagine that girl, after that, she's finally had her kids? That shows the manifestation, as in how awesome God is. And even through my treatments as well. I remember every time they transfer my embryos and everything, the doctor would say, it's up to the higher powers. I'm like, so you believe in higher powers? You know what I'm saying? Well, I don't know. You people, sometimes we meet all sorts, in our course of our line of work. Some are people of faith, some don't believe, but we've done our own based on our understanding, what we know. And then obviously it's up to the higher powers, which means that it's up to God to decide if this one will keep or not. So at the end of the day, that means God still has the final say. Who has the final say? Jehovah has the final say. So God has the final say in it all. And that's what I rest on, that, he's not brought me this far just to leave me. And I know for a certain that my joy will be full. As ridiculous as it might seem, sometimes I wonder when I sit down and look at myself, like, where do you even get this energy from? Like, even me myself, I'll be telling myself, you just be going about like someone who is not even Bonu Gonself, as Yoruba people will say. Like, you're not even thinking about your life. It seems like you're not even thinking about your life, but I'm not going to let anyone take power and control from my hands of how I should rule my life. Like, it's my life. If it's not on my terms, then it ain't happening. It has to be on my terms. That is what I call living a full life. Because there's no point in having all the riches and everything and you are being controlled. Someone's controlling you. Sit down, stand up. You can't spend this, you can't do that. But meanwhile, to the eyes of your world, you are the wealthiest person. Now, I think I'm more richer as long as it's I've got, control of everything and it's on my terms. So I'm good. I'm all right. Yeah.
I think I like that fact. I like the fact that you're not allowing society to control you. You're not allowing other people's opinions to control you, because you're doing what you know to do, and you're leaving that to God. And you're not, because I know, well, I'm using that word, I know, not because I know, but because I can understand how it is, especially from our culture, how society and other people would want that control. They want to look at you and say, why is she smiling? Why is she dressing up? Why is she using makeup? Why is she happy? What exactly is making her happy, kind of thing. But actually, I like your perspective on it, because I think that's the healthiest perspective that you can have, because it's about a choice of whether you allow this thing to dictate for you, or you make your choice of, this is how I choose to live my life in spite of.
I mean, and there was this scripture in the Bible that's, well, you know how you've read the Bible several times and scriptures just become afresh to you. I don't know the name of the scripture now. I'm sorry, whoever's going to be watching this, but I'm sure if you put it on Google, you can find it. You know, when it was said in the Bible that I place before you life and death. Choose life that it might be well with you.
Yeah.
So even in times where it seems overwhelming and everything, I know God has given me a choice. He's giving me the choice to either choose life and let his grace abound and see me through, so I can, submerge from that whole depression and anxiety, or decide to just go down and be drowned by it. So I always think, girl, just continue to choose life. Just continue to choose that. God he will save me when he will hear my cry, when he will hear his cry, like Solomon and, David and the book of Psalms, everyone did, crying out to God, like, God, please hear my cry. And whatever it is he wants to use it to do, he will use it to his glory. At the end of the day. So, yeah.
Brilliant. I have another question in terms of, so if you're going to advise, because unfortunately this journey is such that a lot of women that are on this journey, what advice would you give someone going through that now?
Anyone who is currently going through this, because the thing is, I don't know when this will come to an end. I don't know when, I don't know how, but I know it will eventually come to an end. And that's what I rest on. I don't want to know the how. I mean, in terms of, when I say I don't want to know the how, it doesn't mean that I'm just sitting down and fating it. Because I know people who didn't want to go to the hospital to even have themselves checked, and I'm thinking that's ridiculous. God's created any invention that we have now. It's just like now we're sitting here now when the vaccine for coronavirus gets, put out and everything. I do understand that some people will have some reservation about trying it out because they're not even sure if it will work and everything. But that aside, look at, other diseases and like measles, malaria and everything that we have the cure for now. At the time, they were killing people like wildfire, but now we have the cure for them. So I believe that God is behind every invention. Otherwise, don't be using phone, don't use internet, don't even turn on the lights. Use candle and be going up around your place.
Even candle is an invention.
Because every invention, I believe God is behind it, and he's created it for our benefit. It's just like he's giving us tree, and as he's created us in his image. He spoke life into the earth. The same way we as well are in the image of God, have all this great creativity out of us, and we're creating things out of nothing, in essence. Out of trees, we make chairs, we make, equipment to build houses and everything. We build cars out of oil. There's so much invention happening for you to think you're not going to take advantage of it. Please go to the hospital and check yourself. Check and be sure that because there's some people who they don't even have any medical condition wrong with them. It's just unexplained. They can't, put a hand on it. And if you, by all means, have something wrong with you, maybe you do have any gynae issues, you're dealing with any fibroids, endometriosis, or polyps, or whatever it is, seek help in treating it. Because there's some things that you can just take Panadol for and leave heaven to rest. So that you're not praying for God to heal me when you can just take paracetamol and go and sit down. Because some people are in some places that if they have access to this medication, that their problem is solved. But you are there raining the whole heavens when you have access to something to use to take it away. So I'm not saying that we shouldn't exercise our faith, but there's some things that are genuinely really beyond our control, which is where I've come to this point. So I've explored medical treatment. I've done corrective surgeries. I've tried to change my whole lifestyle to ensure that, I'm giving myself the optimal, best and opportunity in terms of my body to be able to take and carry the pregnancy eventually through to full term. So I would advise anyone out there to just, if you haven't gotten yourself checked, please go and get checked so that you know what it is you're fighting with. Yeah. And also have an open conversation with your partner. Because the whole thing about, I want to believe that people who are on this are doing it with, a partner, their husband, what have you, because you both need to be in sync. Whatever it is it would take you to ensure that you're both on the same page, by all means, you would need it for your sake of mind, your health and well-being. It's important, because when the two of you are united, then it's difficult, because storms will come, man. Storms will come from even supposed loved ones, and they're coming from the place of love, but it would still kind of seem like it's coming to cause a divide. So once you've safeguard your own immediate circle, that way you are able to brace and, to brace anything that comes as an external factor coming in to affect you, and also try to live a full life. What do you enjoy doing? This time is not just a downtime. This is for you to do the things that maybe when your supposed friends have had their kids now, will in their own season be resting, and because then they've gotten the kids out of the way. So what you've got this time now to, in essence, establish yourself, your business, or find what it is that you've been created on this earth for. We're not just created to be married and have kids. Otherwise, Jesus Christ would have accomplished that. So when I talk to my singles, I know it might seem like I'm selfish. They're like, auntie, but you are married now. You're married to uncle. Yeah, that's it. But I don't want you to lose perspective, because that's what the devil does. It puts things into your mind that you feel like that's the grand goal to be achieved. I don't think so. Otherwise, all the disciples, Jesus Christ included, would have married and started a family if that's the main goal. God created us here on the earth. He said if we don't praise him, he will raise up stones to praise him. So please don't let whatever God has blessed you with, just because that saying when they say all the talent in this world is in the grave. Don't go to the grave with what God has blessed you with. I beg you in the name of God. Even me, I don't even know myself finish. I'm trying to explore and push myself in boundaries in areas that I'm not even comfortable with, so that I'm sure that I'm manifesting the fullness that God has prepared me for. And being a mother is just an addition. It is not the main. So, so that we don't get, at the end of our journey, we don't get to the gates of heaven and they'll be asking you, all this luggage you carry is, all the talents we gave you brought it back here. There's no space for you to put it. So what are you going to do then? There's no return journey. So please ensure that, put that aside. Sometimes I sit back and I think about it, like I look at all the things that I'm doing now. Imagine if I really had the kids, I probably would have been so sold into them that I wouldn't even be able to do all the things that I have the opportunity to do now. So there is a reason. And it won't be fun anyway if everyone had their kids at the same time. I know it sounds insensitive, and someone will probably be like, what is this one saying? But really, everyone cannot just have at the same time. Otherwise, the whole cycle of life will just be bam, 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 and everyone is gone. So I tell my friends' kids, you're going to be looking after my younger ones, especially when they come to me to try and resolve issue between them and their mothers. And they're like, oh, auntie, I thought you were cool. Why are you assigning mommy? I said, don't worry, when my kids come, you two be laying rules for them. And they go off excited, looking like, yes, they're going to have younger ones, they're going to be pushing around. So you need to ensure that whilst we are trying to figure life out as it is, you are giving it your best shot. Like I tell people, I am going to go out of this life kicking and screaming and bang. Like the devil has thrown his biggest shots. Yeah. For me not to have tried yet, no problem. While we're still waiting for that to happen, we'll be enjoying other things that God has made available for us. So I don't know if I've waffled on there.
Well, it has been amazing because
Something
to have
sensible.
the kind of perspective that you have on it is just brilliant. And I think it's encouraging because I look at your perspective and I can apply it to different other adversities and challenges that people have in life. Because this is a particular challenge for one person. Somebody else's challenge might be completely different, but it's the same way of looking at it.
We're going through a season of struggling through something, you know.
Yeah. And not allowing it to just define you and just bring you down. It's rising above it and just still choosing to make the best of life because you have only one shot at it.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Woona. It has been an amazing time. Thank you. And yes,
thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. In terms of where you are now, I know you have a YouTube channel. I know if anybody wants to hear your story in full, in more detail, you can go on your YouTube channel. You want to talk about your YouTube channel?
Okay, yeah. So I basically started my YouTube channel this April. I turned 40, the big 40, and I thought, you know what? I've been waiting for so long to do this YouTube. Baby, I'm not come, so please, YouTube will happen with babies or no babies. I believe everyone has a story, and you know, it's a shame if we don't share our story when we know we truly inspire people. That's the whole reason why I started my YouTube channel. And if by all means, if it happens that I blow, you know, it's all good. That's the add-on. So please, guys, I want you to subscribe to my YouTube channel. The name of my YouTube channel is Woona's World. So if you just type in Woona's World, you'll find me. I think I have up to 18, 19 videos out now sharing my journey and sharing my life as it is, and just, you know, just creating a safe haven for myself, really, because everyone has, you know, an inch and a space for this old interspace. Why not take advantage of it? I'm not paying to be on YouTube. It's just a free chance to be there, and I'm taking my spot as well, you know, hopefully creating a safe place for people to come on and be like, wow, you know, I just want to inspire people, really. And hopefully let's get more interaction going. Let's share experiences and let's create a community that changes the narrative around, you know, infertility. It is not a burden that anyone should bear alone. It's all I've just got to say. And no one should shame us. It's just ridiculous. That needs to change. Nah.
Change that narrative. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Ademolu.
An awesome privilege having you share your story, being open about your story. Thank you. Thank you
so much for having me. Thank you. I can talk for Africa, so I'm actually honored that you gave me this opportunity to support you guys and your audience.
It is a privilege because we don't get too many people that share their journey. And that's why I'm really, really, when I say I'm in awe, I'm not joking, because I know how it is. Everyone wants to share their story after the fact. But while you're on it, it takes a great deal of courage to be vulnerable and to be open. And for that, I celebrate you.
Thank you.
That's all, folks. Thank you for tuning in. Take care. Bye-bye.